Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to know whether am I audible so that we can start up with the session. Do respond it in the chat box whether am I audible so that I could start up with the session without wasting time. Okay, fine. So today we will be discussing the remaining portion of the sample paper, which we have already discussed the part 1 consisting of 20 questions, and the remaining case study questions and assertion reasoning consist in the today's sample paper. So the very first case study which we will be discussing today is on your screen. Kindly read it carefully. There is a table given as well. Then we will be going through all the important questions from this case study. See what the case study says. The pH of a solution is a measure of its hydrogen ion concentration. It is measured generally using pH scale. The values on pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. A pH of 1 is very acidic and progresses to a high concentration of H positive ions. A pH of 14 is very basic and corresponds to the low concentration of H positive ions. The pH of the neutral solution is 7. The table given below shows the pH and H positive ion concentration of some common aqueous solution. The leftmost columns shows the number of moles, as you can see it in the tables. The left column is showing the number of moles. Next is the pH, and the third are the some examples of the solutions. Now, as we have read and gone through this passage, it just completely tells us about what it is telling us about the pH scale. And as you might have already studied, the pH scale ranges from, what is the range of the pH scale? Yes, the pH range is from 1 to 14, and the middle one is considered as the neutral. 1 to 7 is considered as the acidic range, and 7 to 14 is considered as the basic range. So one who has not studied anything about the pH, I do have shared the link in the description. Kindly go through it and clear your concepts regarding the pH. What is pH? What all are the pH ranges which are important as far as discussed in NCERT? You need to go through and learn all of it. So the very first question says, how is the hydrogen ion concentration and pH related to each other? How they are related? A, they are inversely proportional. B, they are directly proportional. C, they are equal. और D, they have no relation. अब वो पूछ रहे हैं हाइड्रोजन आयन की कंसंट्रेशन और पीएच के बीच में क्या रिलेशन है. क्या वो डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है, जितनी ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन आयन की कंसंट्रेशन उतना ज़्यादा पीएच, या वो इनवर्सली रिलेटेड है. सी यस, getting very good answer, and that's the correct one, that they are inversely related. We can also correlate by this concept. जितना ज़्यादा H पॉजिटिव आयन आएगा उतना ज़्यादा वो हमारा कैसा सॉल्यूशन होगा, उतना ज़्यादा वो क्या होगा, हमारा एसिडिक सॉल्यूशन होगा. अब एसिडिक सॉल्यूशन कब मिल रहा था, अभी हमने डिस्कस करा था फ्रॉम पीएच रेंज 1 to 7. तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि जितना ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन आयन होगा उतना ज़्यादा ही पीएच होगा. वो इन्वर्सली रिलेटेड है. जितने ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन आयन उतना कम पीएच, उतना ज़्यादा एसिडिक. सो दे आर इन्वर्सली रिलेटेड. फॉलोड बाय द नेक्स्ट वन. Again, the passage is completely same. Now, among the given solutions in the table, the most basic in nature is, now you can see towards the right, आपको pH भी given है, and I told you that the pH range for the base is 7 to 14, and the 14 is the most basic. So you have to tell the most basic among these four. Is it pure water, oven cleaner, household bleach, or the D, gastric juice? You need to be clear. Okay, tell me whether it is pure water, or is it oven cleaner, or is it gastric juice? Yes, the correct option of this particular question is oven cleaner. Why it is oven cleaner? Yes, because oven cleaner is at the 13 pH, and the 13 pH among all of the following is the most basic. Moving ahead to the next one. The acid having highest hydrogen ion concentration is one with. Now you have some options on your screen again. You have A with pH 2.5, B with pH 1.8, C with pH 7, and D with pH 10. You need to tell the acid having highest hydrogen ion concentration. So which is the acid which is having highest hydrogen ion concentration? Means the most basic, and the most basic would be what among them? The least pH, and the least pH is the option B, that is 1.8. Moving ahead to the next one. Okay, as you can see it on the screen, the pH of the solution uh, is the measure of hydrogen ion concentration. A basic solution could have a pH of, you need to tell what is the pH of the basic solution. What could be the pH of the basic solution? Hurry up. Yes, perfect. It is A part. A part is 11. The basic solution could have a pH of 11. Or what is the range of the basic solution as we have discussed it? It is above 7 to below 14. This is the pH range of what? Basic solution. Proceeding ahead, the next is another case study which we are moving ahead. We'll go through it carefully so that you can have a better understanding. As it says, carbon and energy requirements of the autotrophic organisms आर फुलफिल्ड बाय फोटोसिंथेसिस. तो कार्बन की जो एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट है वो फुलफिल होती हैं फोटोसिंथेसिस के थ्रू. इट इज़ द प्रोसेस बाय विच ऑर्गेनिजम्स और ऑटोट्रॉफ्स टेक इन सब्सटेंसेस फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. ऑटोट्रॉफ सब्सटेंस लेते हैं आउटसाइड से एंड कन्वर्ट देम इनटू द स्टोर्ड फॉर्म्स ऑफ एनर्जी. दिस मटेरियल इज टेकन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड and water, which is converted into carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So they are completely telling up the process of photosynthesis. After that, carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plant. The carbohydrates are not immediately used and are stored in the form of starch, which serves as internal energy reserve to be used as and when required by the plant. So when the plant is not having enough of the glucose, तो वो सेव कर लेते हैं और स्टोर कर लेते हैं स्टार्च की फॉर्म में, और जिन्हें वो लेटर यूज़ कर लेते हैं. A somewhat similar situation is seen in humans, where some of the energy derived from the food we eat is stored in the body in the form of glycogen. That means the complex substance that have to be broken down the complex substance that have to be broken down into simpler ones before they can be used for the upkeep and the growth of the body. To achieve this, organisms use biocatalyst. So heterotrophs depend upon the energy of what? The very first question is, heterotrophs किस पे डिपेंड होते हैं अपनी एनर्जी के लिए? A, is it autotrophs? B, is it producers? C, is it herbivores? Or D, it is both autotrophs and producers. So the D one is the correct answer. They depend upon both of the following. So the correct answer over here in this question is D. Moving ahead to the next one. Now look up at the figure carefully. The correct equation of the photosynthesis process could be what? They are asking you to tell the correct equation. करेक्ट इक्वेशन अब पिक्चर को देखकर पता चलेगी आपको, तो पिक्चर को देख के फटाफट आपको बताना है कि कौन सी करेक्ट इक्वेशन हो सकती है आउट ऑफ देम. Check it out and let me know which is the correct equation for photosynthesis. Hurry up. Good going. Yes, the correct equation is A. What is the A equation? It is 6 carbon dioxide molecules when combined with 6 water molecules gives C6H12O6, that is our food, along with 6 oxygen molecules. So the correct equation in this particular case is the A1. Okay, proceeding to the next question. As you could see, the next question again is a picture. Now see, study the picture below that represents the mode of action of biocatalyst. Now students, I hope you all know what are biocatalysts. Biocatalysts are, yes, are the enzymes which alter the rate of reaction or which increase the rate of reaction. Catalyst क्या होते हैं? वो सब्सटेंसेस जो रिएक्शन के रेट को इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज कर सकते हैं, और जो बॉडी में रहकर इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज करते हैं उन्हें हम बायोकैटलिस्ट बोलते हैं. So you have to choose the correct combination of the information provided. You can see a table. A table is telling about the biocatalyst, also termed as biocatalyst found in human saliva, biocatalyst found in the human stomach. Out of these, which is the correct answer? Okay. So, if we are talking about this particular, see, you have to check biocatalyst, also termed as. I right now told you that the biocatalysts are also termed as enzymes. So there are two options which are telling the first answer as enzymes. So the option could be A or C, but not B and D. Moving ahead to the next. Biocatalyst found in human saliva. It is not trypsin. It is what? It is amylase. So the correct option of the two is the A1. So the correct answer of this particular question would be A1. The next question. Which of the following statement or statements are true? First, carbon and energy requirements of autotrophs are fulfilled by photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plants. Chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. Or D, survival of autotrophs depends directly or indirectly on heterotrophs. तो इनमें से कौन सी स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है? Okay, think. Is it first and second only? Second and third? First, second and third? Or first, third and fourth? Which are the correct statements? Yes, perfect. The correct answer of this question is C. That is our statement first, second and third. All the three are correct. As they say that carbon and energy requirements of autotrophs are fulfilled by photosynthesis. We know that the plants complete their energy by photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plant. Yes, their food is carbohydrate, that is C6H12O6. So that is used for providing energy to the plant. And third is chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. Yes, as chlorophyll is responsible for trapping of the energy of sunlight. So yes, chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. And all these 3 points come up in part C. So the correct answer would be first, second and third only. Okay. Proceeding to the next case study. Now, this is the case study related to the chapter of human eye. Seems to be an interesting one. As we proceed, it says, light spectrum is the main is the many different wavelengths of energy produced by light source. Light is measured in nanometers. Each nanometer represents a wavelength of light or band of light energy. Visible light is the part of the spectrum from 380 to 780 nanometer. Means visible light का जो range है, that is from 380 to 780 nanometer. Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of sunlight. He tried to split the color of the spectrum of white light into the similar 7 colors. He then placed a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism. As you can see in the picture below, what Isaac Newton did, he placed the first prism, observed that the white light is splitting up into 7 colors, placed an inverted prism with respect to the first prism. Now what happened? This allowed all the colors of the spectrum to pass through the second prism. He found a beam of white light entering from the other side of the second prism. So the entered light was white. Again, after passing through both the prisms, the second light was also coming as white. This observation gave Newton the idea that the sunlight is made up of 7 colors and a rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after rain. So these are some of the important statements given by the spectrum, given by Isaac Newton on observing this light spectrum or by passing the white light through the prism. So what the question says, the very first question is, the range of the wavelength of visible light spectrum is. Now, after reading the passage, you need to tell what is the range of the visible light spectrum. A, is it 500 to 780? B, is it 450 to 750? C, 380 to 780? Or D, 300 to 700? Yes, it is given in the passage itself, that is, it is 380 to 780 nanometers. So the correct answer is the C one. Perfect. Proceeding to the next. The many different wavelength of energy produced by the light source through the prism is called. जो अलग अलग वेवलेंथ की एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस हो रही है मेन लाइट सोर्स से प्रिज्म से पास होने के बाद, व्हाट डू वी टर्म दैट एज? ए, डू वी टर्म इट एज हाइड्रोजन स्पेक्ट्रम, लाइट स्पेक्ट्रम, corona discharge, or D, frequency? What is the name given to that spectrum? So yes, the correct answer is again the light spectrum. It is already mentioned in the paragraph again that the spectrum which is observed is the light spectrum we are talking about when white light is splitting up into 7 colors. Now this is a very important question. Need to look at carefully. Light spectrum, as you can see, is the many different wavelengths of energy produced by the light source. Go through this question very carefully. The critical angle between an equilateral prism and the air is 45 degrees. If the incident ray is perpendicular to the refracting surface, then now they are talking about this ray. Which ray they are talking about? They are talking about incident ray. This is our incident ray. And incident ray is coming what? It is coming perpendicular to the refracting surface. Which is the refracting surface? This AB. This AB is the refracting surface. This is the perpendicular line which I am showing it to you. Now, then you have to think which is the correct option among the four. A, it is reflected totally from the second surface and emerge perpendicularly to the third surface. क्या ये point ठीक है? Second, it gets reflected from the second surface and third surface and emerges from the third surface. Third, it keeps reflecting from all sides of the prism and never emerges out. Or fourth, after deviation, it gets reflected from the second surface. Consider it carefully. What could be the correct option? See what they're saying. It the correct option in this case would be B. Why it would be B? Because this is the incident ray which is entering, and this is the second surface, which is the second surface BC. Now it is getting reflected from the second surface, क्योंकि आपको अगर आप इस प्रोसेस को चेक करेंगे, so अगर ये ray of light, if you're talking about this ray of light, see this ray is striking and this is incident ray, and the next ray is getting reflected, it is the reflected ray. You can easily say, see, it is given that angle of incidence is also 60 and angle of reflection is also 60. When angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection, this is the law of reflection, and hence reflection is occurring inside the prism. So this point is correct, that it gets reflected from the second surface. अब वो रिफ्लेक्ट होके कहाँ पे जा रही है? अगर हम नोटिस करेंगे, रिफ्लेक्ट होने के बाद वो कहाँ पे गई? इस थर्ड सरफेस पर आ रही है ये वाली रे. तो थर्ड सरफेस क्या है हमारा? AC, एंड द थर्ड सरफेस एंड इमर्जेस फ्रॉम द थर्ड सरफेस. यस, थर्ड सरफेस से वो रिलीज हो रही है. सो द करेक्ट ऑप्शन ऑफ इट इज, इट गेट्स रिफ्लेक्टेड फ्रॉम द सेकेंड सरफेस and third surface and emerges from the third surface. So this is the correct option of this answer. Moving ahead to the next. The dispersive power of prism depends upon. Now you need to be careful and let me know the answer. The dispersive power of prism depends upon A. Whether it is shape of the prism. B. It could be angle of the prism. C. It is height of the prism. Or D. Material of the prism. Your answer needs to be fast. You need to tell the correct answer quite fast. Hurry up. The dispersive power of prism depends upon. See, if you generally talk about dispersive power, वो होती क्या है? dispersive power उसे define करा जाता है difference in refraction of light of the highest wavelength and the lowest wavelength is termed as dispersive power. And the dispersive power of the prism can also be expressed in terms of the angle between the two extreme wavelengths. So that is the dispersive power. And if you're talking about on what parts it depends among the four, so it depends upon the material of the prism. Since the material of the prism would only be responsible for giving out different angles, and indirectly the dispersive power depends upon the different angles. Okay, the next one. Now, these are one of the important questions or the assertion reasoning questions in which the students usually face problem. ध्यान से सुनिए. I hope you all are clear with the rules of this assertion and reasoning, how to solve different assertion and reasoning questions. A says both assertion and reason are true and our reason is the correct explanation of assertion. B says both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. C says assertion is true, reason is false. And on the other hand, D says assertion is false, but reason is true. Proceeding to the very first assertion reasoning. It says, chemical reaction changes the physical and chemical state of the substance. तो पहला पॉइंट आपका बोलता है कि केमिकल रिएक्शन जो है वो फिजिकल और केमिकल स्टेट को चेंज कर देती है. और रीजन बोल रहा है, रीजन इज स्टेटिंग दैट व्हेन इलेक्ट्रिक करंट इज पास थ्रू वाटर इट डिकम्पोजेस टू प्रोड्यूस हाइड्रोजन एंड ऑक्सीजन गैसेस. नाउ यू नीड टू बी लुक अपॉन इट. ध्यान से ऑब्जर्व करिए व्हाट द क्वेश्चन इज सेइंग. Is assertion correct? Is the reason correct? You need to be hurry up. Yes, getting good answers. Proceed fast. Is assertion correct that chemical reaction changes the physical and chemical property of the substance? Be careful. See, chemical reactions always changes the chemical property. They are never responsible for changing the physical property. So assertion is completely false in this. It is not possible that the chemical reaction will change the physical property. And since the assertion is false, the correct answer would be the D1. Why it would be D1? As D1 says that assertion is false, and this is correctly defining our situation. See, assertion is false but reason is true is the D part, and hence it correctly fits to our situation of the first assertion and reason. Next, antacids are used to get rid of pain caused by indigestion. दिस इज द एजर्शन दैट एंटासिड्स जो होते हैं वो क्या करने में काम आ रहे हैं. दे आर यूज टू get rid of pain by indigestion. Indigestion, when does indigestion takes place? When we have excess amount of acid present in our stomach, and if we are not having proper diet, so that is the situation when acids are released. Or antacids, reason क्या है? Antacids neutralize the excess acid produced in the stomach. What is the function of antacids? Antacids neutralize the excess acid present in the stomach. So as per the question, what it says, what is the correct answer? Assertion is true, reason is also true, it is the correct explanation, that is the A1. Or the B, assertion is true. Yes, the correct option is the A1, because assertion is also true, reason is true as well, and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion, followed by the next one. Okay, metals. Metals have the quality of reflecting light from their surface and can be polished. See, this is correct. Metals have the quality of reflecting light because they are lustrous, they are shiny, they have the quality of reflecting light, and yes, they can be polished. ये assertion correct है. Reason, metals are malleable. This is also correct. Metals malleable भी हैं. But is it the correct explanation? Is it correctly explaining the assertion? Or it is the up to point explanation? Perfect. Yes, getting up the correct answer. Both the things are true. And if assertion and reason are true, but it is not the correct explanation, the answer must be B. So the answer of this assertion and reason is B. The next, human heart is four-chambered. It's the assertion. Yes, we all know human heart is made up of four chambers. The upper chambers are termed as auricles or atriums, and the lower chambers are termed as ventricles. Coming up to the reason. Vena cava is the only artery that supplies deoxygenated blood to the heart. Now, first of all, vena cava is not an artery. Vena cava is the largest vein of our body. So, as per this statement, we can say that the reason is false and the assertion is true. And so the correct statement would be C, which states that the reason is false and hence correctly fits to our situation and this assertion and reason. So the correct answer would be the third one. Moving ahead to the next assertion reason. Keeping a point object fixed. If a plane mirror is moved, the image will also move. Now you are keeping the object at the fixed position and you're changing the positions of the mirror. Will the image also be changed or the image will also be moved? This is the assertion, what the reason says. In case of plane mirror, distance of the object and its image is equal from the point of the mirror. Now, they are saying प्लेन मिरर के केस में जितना डिस्टेंस ऑब्जेक्ट का होता है और एंड इट्स इमेज इज इक्वल फ्रॉम एनी पॉइंट ऑन द मिरर, दैट्स परफेक्टली करेक्ट. जितना दूर ऑब्जेक्ट है उतना दूर ही इमेज बनती है मिरर से. अगर हमारा ऑब्जेक्ट, this is the mirror, and if our object is 5 meter from the mirror, then the image would also be 5 meter away from the mirror. Okay, now is this keeping a point object fixed? If a plane mirror is moved, the image will also move. Yes, image will also move. Think, and the distance of the object and its image is equal from any point on the mirror. Yes, so the correct option in this portion. Okay, the next. On midday, the color of the sunlight becomes white. This is the assertion. And the reason says no atmospheric refraction caused due to the overhead sun. See, on midday, the color of the sunlight becomes white and no atmospheric refraction is caused due to the overhead sun. This is again wrong. That is just not possible that there is no atmospheric refraction which is occurring. Atmospheric refraction will always occur. And since the reason is false, the correct answer would be C. So the correct answer of this assertion and reason is the C one. Since atmospheric refraction will always occur if the ray of light is present in the atmosphere. So this was the last question of today's session. We'll meet up again. Till then, please do work hard, and the struggle you are in today will develop the strength you need for tomorrow. So thank you for watching. Have a good day. Keep liking and sharing the video, and do subscribe the channel if you haven't done till now.